What's up, nerds? You asked for a room tour. It's not a big room, but now you're going to get the full tour. So stay tuned. Top shelf, as soon as you walk in the door. Actually, let's back that up just a titch. Whenever you walk in the door, first thing you got is some lightsabers. So I don't know if there's batteries in them. Oh, look at that. There are batteries in them. Been a minute since I've ignited these. There we go. And of course, last but not least, that's the first step. Turn off some lights. Pretty cool, huh? I've got probably 25 lightsabers, and that's just the beginning of it all. So moving on, now we're going to start up here with some of my boxed goodies. We've got the boxed Tauntaun. Right behind it, we've got the Droid Factory. That's complete. We've got X-Wing Fighter, followed by another X-Wing Fighter right there. Got Darth Vader's TIE Fighter, Battle Damaged TIE Fighter, the Tauntaun with the cut belly, and the first TIE Fighter right there, followed by the TIE Interceptor. We've got Dagobah playset, the Battle Damaged X-Wing behind the Yoda hand puppet. So, got the Battle Damaged X-Wing right there, Yoda hand puppet, and the Ewok Battle Wagon in the box. All right, let's move on here. I've got the Rebels crew from the Ghost HasLab right there. And then I've got some of the harder to find figures. The Final 17 figures, Yak Face, the A-Wing pilot, Lando, you know, these guys, EV-99, Han Solo, Luke in the Stormtrooper disguise, Amanaman, Barada, etc., etc., etc. Then we've got some bagged figures as well. Those are all still in their mailer bags. Pretty cool, huh? All right, let's go in the closet. We've got some mini rigs up there. We've got the boxed snow speeder and the speeder bike right there. We've got Jorg Zakul, the Max Rebo band. Some more mini rigs up there. Boxed A-Wing fighter. Move out here. Got some other fun stuff. Let's see if I can move this out of the way so you can get a better look at that A-Wing fighter box. Pretty cool. Got the Wampa. Let's see what else. Attack base, Echo base. Got the Tatooine skiff, side gunner. What else have we got? We've got a mint and sealed box B-Wing fighter right here. We do have the, that's the droid from the failed Star Cruiser. A carded Imperial TIE fighter pilot. Uh-oh, about to knock over Mork for Mork. Let's move him over a little bit. Do have the boxed Slave 1. Got the original Boba Fett right here in the Star Wars logo. It's not sealed, of course. Did get one of those nice bubble seals right there, clamshells for it. Let's see, let's move on, shall we? We've got boxed Y-Wing fighter. Got a couple multi-packs up there from the vintage collection. Twin Pod, Cloud Car, Rancor, Imperial Troop Transport. We've got the original set right here. I did just acquire this lunchbox. It does have the thermos inside of it. Just got that this weekend, actually. Got the boxed Millennium Falcon, Scout Walker right there, the ATST, and the radio-controlled R2-D2 all in the box. All of my stuff, except for this guy right here, have the box. So almost my entire collection is boxed, or at least has the box. I do have these Black Series figures right here. Each one of these are autographed. So I've got Ashley Eckstein right there. Emily Swallow right there. Got D. Bradley Baker with Captain Rex. let's get this out of here. We've got Misty Rosas for Queel, and of course Jim Cummins for Hondo. So those are fun. Then we've got these guys. These guys are really hard to find. The Security Scout, the Imperial Sniper, and the Sand Skimmer. Yeah, this one's still actually attached to the bubble where these two, I got these from Mando Mike, actually, whenever he was selling off his collection. Got those. They just have the card back that were nicely sliced off, but I can't bring myself to remove that from the bubble for obvious reasons. Behind here, I do have a boxed AT-AT. And up here, if you can see it, I've got the boxed Sandcrawler. And let's see, what else have we got here? We've got the Death Star, the Imperial Shuttle, and up here we've got Jabba the Hutt, the Jabba the Hutt playset. All right, moving on to the next level. We have got some blasters back over here. We've got the laser pistol over there, the DL-44. We've got the Creature Cantina playset, Jabba the Hutt's Dungeon. We've got the ISP-6. Let's move this out of the way so you can get a better look. We've got the Hoth set back there, the cardboard set, and the Turret and Probot playset. I also have the Gecko right here. I've got this little figure. Bought that from Dominic Pace whenever he was in town. What else have we got? Let's see. We've got some pretty rare figures. These two right here. It's Eula Qel-Droma and Exar Kun, my favorite Sith Lords. We got Darth Bane, Darth Nihilus, Revan's over here, Plagueis, etc., etc. Rebel Troop Transport, Ewok Combat Glider, the Biker Scout pistol. Got an original Star Tours hat. Also got that from Mando Mike when he was selling off his collection. We've got the Dewback Patrol Kit, the Land Speeder, the Obrikian 9000. That's a stand solo joint right there. I've got the Star Destroyer playset in the box right there. And of course, the Ewok Village. All right. So with Obi-Wan Kenobi right there, we're going to move on to some carded figures. Well, and some that are open, but still have the clamshell and the artwork. So we've got, just kind of run through them. Not going to name them all. You can see them here. All right. These are just loose figures that still have their card backs, including the Redneck Leia. And then we move down here, starting with Greedo and Hammerhead, to my carded figures, my actual vintage sealed carded figures. So we'll just move down the line here. Okay, this is exciting, isn't it? You asked for a tour, you get a tour of everything. Going down here, got some bounty hunters and some Imperials, and an Endor Rebel Soldier, Bossk. Got some Tron back there. Let's move up, shall we? We're going to check out the Superpowers line right here. I keep talking about the new Superpowers line, the mixture of the old and new. It's great. And this is one of the reasons why I love it so much, is because I've got the old stuff. I can mix it in with the new stuff. Moving up, we've got Buck Rogers. We've got Michael Knight back there and some Battlestar Galactica figures. A few more Superpowers figures. And then we don't talk about these on the podcast because, of course, it's Star Trek, and that's like a bad word with the guys. But I've got the Star Trek 3 carded figures, Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock, Scotty, and the Klingon Commander Krug, Captain Krug. Then we've got them, also got some Star Trek figures loose. Right here, we've got the Black Hole figures all here. Almost all of them. I'm missing a few. Actually, I'm missing two. I'm missing just the two really hard to find figures. We've got three: Star, Old Bob, and the zombie characters. We got some Buck Rogers. We've got Clash of the Titans. We've got some Lone Ranger and Flash Gordon. Anyway, but that's not important. I'm going to take you a little bit lower. I'm going to take you one level lower here down to this shelf, which is kind of a work in progress. So I moved some of my Visionary stuff, just some of the boxed vehicles, into storage because I'm running out of space. So I'm trying to get a little creative with it and just have the loose figures out. After that, I moved, let me see, a third of my vintage Transformers into storage just to keep them protected. Some of my Visionaries just kind of lying around waiting for new stands. Those are my Transformers 86 Dinobots and, of course, the Super 7 Grimlock. It's just a placeholder until I can get a Transformers 86 Grimlock. So, moving on to the vintage stuff. These are vintage and a couple of modern pieces like RC right here. I've got her in there as well as a Japanese Galvatron, purple. And, the Quintessons, which are 86 and I think Legacy. I don't remember what the name of that particular line was, but the Quintesson was really cool, so I had to get that. There's also a couple of GoBots in here, but those are my vintage Transformers that are not in storage. And of course, Ultra Magnus here is actually a re-release from Toys R Us back in the day. You can tell because of the missiles. The missiles are a little bit longer than the vintage style, but otherwise all these others are true vintage. Okay, I do have some more carded Star Wars figures. We're going to move up here. Got Darth Vader, Chewie, we got the preview Mace Windu, we've got Ula, and then we're just kind of going to move down the line here. That is original mail away Admiral Ackbar. Nothing special, just I still had the paperwork, so I wanted to keep that all together. Yep. Moving down. All right, so let's move on to the mask. You guys haven't even gotten out of the closet yet. You've just been around the closet and in the closet. I've got my boxed mask collection. There's only a few pieces I don't have the boxes for. You're also going to start getting into my mess here, where things are kind of just lying around until I get the rest of the room sorted out. So yeah, I love mask. So, as you can tell, I do have every single domestically released piece of mask vehicles and figures. I don't have all of the foreign releases, so there was several that were done in England alone. Japanese versions too, I don't have those. But I do have all the American release and a couple of the foreign releases too. It's fun. I love the line. Below that, we've got, of course, Boulder Hill and the Laser Command. We've got the first HasLab, the Barge, along with the Sarlacc Pit and a pair of skiffs, all being hunted by a giant AT-AT. I've got my tiny little ghost here that's going back to work with me, and then this mess that I haven't yet sorted out. Pardon my mess. I am going to move over here, though, so you can get a peek at this dusty bitch right here. Got to clean that. That is the USS Defiant from G.I. Joe. This thing opens up into a giant space shuttle and gantry complex. There's figures all over it. Some even in the back that you can't see because it's in there backwards, and the actual launch control is in the bottom of the ship whenever it's in gantry, whenever it's in crawler mode. When it's in gantry mode, that's brought forward. So maybe one of these days I'll break that out and put it in launch mode so you can all see it. Maybe I'll do it by the end of this video. Maybe not. Don't know. All right, let's move on. All right, lining the top of the room, I'm just kind of going to walk all the way around really quick. It's my vintage collection, all carded, in numerical order from oldest to newest. Got to go around my Night Force Sky Striker, which I'll get to all that stuff in a second. So just going around the room so you can see all that. Yep, do have my vintage carded Luke Skywalkers right here. I think I'm just missing the carded Stormtrooper Luke. That is the only one I believe I'm missing. which is going to cost me a fortune. Let's see. Let's move around here. More vintage collection goodness, plus some Disney stuff and some other just things I love, like the orange carded figures from the 90s. I do love those. I've got the original set of those. Got a bunch of chrome versions of the original vintage collection line, and then some of my carded vintage collection that's autographed, like Katie Sackhoff, Bo-Katan. I've got Moff Gideon right there whenever I met him. From there, we've got the deluxe figures, a couple more orange carded, some Stan Solo stuff, and just random carded figures, kind of all over the place. Let's move on to my displays here that are kind of needing to be straightened out a little bit. They're always in flux as I add things and take things away. But let's stay up here real quick. Got my 3D printed Mandalorian house. I loved putting that together. That was a lot of fun to do. Then we're moving on to other little displays I created for the Mandalorian. And we've got the Armorer's Forge playset right there. That I need to finish. That's actually the plinth from Galaxy's Edge, which is, of course, surrounded by the vehicles from Disneyland. Pretty cool. Okay, now let's go back over here. Sorry if the camera's moving too fast. All right, we're going to move down a level. Got my Disney Plus Obi-Wan and Rogue One / Andor section right here. Followed by my Rebel pilots, other random figures that have fallen over like Cal Kestis. I still have to get in here and clean up some of this other stuff. Got my Disneyland Sandcrawler that I've actually repainted. Also, let's see. Got this is a Lars Homestead playset that was a Toys R Us exclusive. I repainted that too. I didn't repaint it, but I just added some damage to it and put a couple dead bodies on it because, hey, that's fun. Got my 3D printed Obi-Wan Kenobi's house right there. I've also got Docking Bay 94 and just kind of like a little entrance right there, Tatooine style entrance. And a bunch of my figures fell over here in my little makeshift cantina. Yeah, I got to clean that up. It's a bit of a mess. So sorry about that. We're going to go down here to my Empire Strikes Back setup. This right here is actually a recreation of the cardboard Bespin playset. I couldn't afford the original whenever I was hunting for it. Probably can now, so maybe I'll look for that. Let's see, what else have we got? Got the Bespin playset right here. That's a lot of fun. I always like to mix my vintage figures, my pure vintage figures, with some of the retro figures right there. You can tell because they can't hold their blasters and they all have that stamp on their legs. So they're kind of mixed in there just to fill out my Stormtrooper ranks. But otherwise, you've got, I think I do have a Stan Solo right there and an Obi-Wan Kenobi style Darth Vader. Otherwise, it's all pure vintage or vintage collection. With some other things just kind of added in there. Like this was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. Put batteries in it and it plays the whole set. The whole scene. I'm not going to do that right now. As you can see, this is still kind of in chaos mode right here. This whole display shelf right here. Got Han Solo's lying down. I've got, just a mess. But got my 3D printed Star Destroyer bridge. Got some more mini rigs back there. It's my Tauntaun. That's all vintage right there. Great little shelf. And then we move on here to my Echo Base playsets that I've kind of cobbled together over the years. Yeah, I actually work on 3D printing something that looks a little bit better than that. But in the meantime, this does the trick. It's dusty. I gotta dust that. Good Lord. All right. From there, my Princess Leia carded collection. I've got the original Leia from A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi Bausch Leia. Moving up, I do have Bespin Leia and Andor Leia. Then I have got A New Hope Han Solo. Moving over here. Got my Hoth Han Solo. Bespin and Endor. The only Han I do not have carded is the Carbonite block version of Han. All right. Moving on. Let's go to Return of the Jedi. Got Jabba the Hutt's playset right here. It's kind of multi-leveled. Got some Stan Solo stuff in there. Some vintage stuff, some vintage collection, just all sorts of things. There's also the original Rancor Keeper back there, carded. I've got some of my carded. I'm really short on wall space, so I've got my carded stuff kind of behind. As you can see, some of the carded stuff is behind the figures right there. So anyway, moving on from Jabba the Hutt's palace right here, we're going to move on to Endor. Here we go. It's my Endor set. There's some figures might be lying down around here. I have this backdrop that I got. I think I got that on Etsy, believe it or not. 3D printed some trees and got some foliage from Mando Mike and from Michaels. A lot of Mike. Let's see. Got some Stan Solo. Got a lit up Darth Vader bonfire right there. That's kind of fun. And then from there, we're going to move on to the really, really messy shelf. And I apologize for this in advance, but it's kind of like my Book of Boba Fett shelf. Just kind of things thrown all haphazardly around until I can figure out how exactly I want to display it all. Yeah, I got to repaint that Rancor to make it look the right color. Moving down from there, I do have the Emperor's Throne Room, quote unquote Emperor's Throne Room, but I am working on something right now that is going to be pretty interesting whenever it's done, and about 10 times that size. So stay tuned for that. I'll let you guys know when that's coming. All thanks to Tosche Station Emporium and Darth Moocher over there. My Death Star playset that I 3D printed right here. It was a lot of fun to do. You can actually walk into the Death Star here and look around the corner. It's a pretty awesome little set. All modular. So I came up with a design. Well, I didn't come up with a design, but I came up with a layout for the design. I 3D printed somebody's files. They had them for sale online. 3D printed it all, put it all together, and came up with this cool little setup here. It's a lot of fun to do. Took a lot of time. Below that, I've got some of Darth Moocher's Tosche Station Emporium walls back there and floors. And then I've got the Power of the Force 2 cell block. And then I've got a 3D printed control room. And some more of Darth Moocher's walls right back there. All right, moving on to the Millennium Falcon. So the space around my Millennium Falcon is pretty messy right now, and I've got a few things like piled on it as I work to try and figure out what I'm going to do with the upper shelves. But this is the big Millennium Falcon. This one's the one that came out same time the Clone Wars movie came out, actually. I bought it at Comic-Con. It was only $150. It's the same one that you now have to buy for $300, if not more, whenever it's released again. And trust me, it will inevitably be released again. It's the Millennium Falcon. You've got to release the Falcon. So also some carded figures back there. And yeah, I think it's... Oh, let's check out the center section, the last of my Star Wars collection. Of course, we're going to start with the Ghost. I freaking love the Ghost. It's a 3D... There was a 3D printer on Etsy that actually designed an attachment that attaches to the bottom of the Phantom 1 that allows the Phantom 1 to connect to the Ghost. Pretty cool. I designed and 3D printed the turret up here that Chopper's head sticks to. It's kind of haphazard. I think I got to rework that a little bit. But otherwise, I've got my Ghost crew and their buddies right here. All right. And then the Ahsoka group. Pretty cool. Moving down, we've got the Mandalorian stuff. This is also kind of a haphazardly thrown together shelf. Got the Razor Crest on there. Moff Gideon's hallway was a bitch. That thing sucked putting together. So I never even did a review on it because it sucked so bad just to try and put it together. But we're going to walk around this way. See the back of the Razor Crest and the other side right here where I've got more haphazardly thrown figures. And of course, Moff Gideon and his cronies. All right, moving down, we've got the Rebels set. So I've got my Rebels figures and the Rebels vehicles here, as well as the Rebels crew, and of course that gorgeous mural right there. I think I got that off of eBay. And yeah, just all sorts of Rebels figures. I love Rebels, so yeah. Moving down from that, I'm going to take a seat while we move on to Clone Wars. Got all sorts of random Jedi and clone troopers and vehicles from the prequel era. All right, let's move to the other side. More clones, more bad guys, more droids, random villains, random heroes and villains, and lots of clones and Jedi. Moving up, we have a slightly dusty shelf with the turbo tank, some 3D printed elements like the throne room right there. My best friend Jesse put that together for me. Very cool. Got some custom figures going right here, including that Captain Rex. It's just a swapped out helmet. And yeah, the turbo tank. I freaking love the turbo tank. So much fun. But that kind of wraps it up for Star Wars. Who wants to see some G.I. Joe stuff? So with my Star Wars stuff, I have every single action figure and every single vehicle produced. G.I. Joe is the same. I have every single G.I. Joe figure and vehicle from 1982 to 1994. Plus, we've got some modern era stuff up here and some 3D printed goodies and some just 25th anniversary stuff, some random goodies, right? The one thing I don't have on display, though, are all my vehicles. Not enough room in my toy room for all of my G.I. Joe vehicles. I have all of them, just not enough room to display them all. So just taking you over this shelf right here, those two shelves, just random Joes. I do have the two gliders right there. Hi. And then over here, more Joes. An E-Wing wing. Battle Force 2000, all that good stuff. Oh yeah, I forgot about these. Comic packs. Star Wars comic packs are right there. And we've got the McQuarrie figures. Got my Indiana Jones stuff, more McQuarrie figures, more Indiana Jones, plus some random droids from Disneyland. Moving on. More Joes, including the Dino Hunter sets, Sergeant Slaughter, his Marauders. More Sergeant Slaughter. More Joes. So many more Joes. Mauler tank, bridge layer. Yeah, good stuff. You all see my USS flag every time I do a video. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can get the full scope of it right here. This is usually where I do my filming, so you'll pardon the mess, please. But yes, that's the original USS flag. It is 7 feet long, 3.5 feet tall. It's a monster. Never thought I would own it, but I got it about a decade ago for $300, shipped from back east. So it was a hell of a steal. All right, moving on. We have got other figures. We've got some Super 7 stuff right here just for funsies, because I do love me some Joes. Got some more modern era along with some vintage Joe stuff. Vintage Joe goodness right here. Got my custom sets right here. Not with, of course, the Winter Soldier is not a custom, but the figures all around him are, except for Low Light over there. So mostly custom. Some of them have fallen over. I got to fix that. Ugh. And I've got my 82 shelf right here, where it's the 82 Joes and the vehicles that they came with. Good fun stuff. Those are all straight arm Joes inside that case right there. So those are the original ones. My first two G.I. Joes I ever got, Stalker and Snake Eyes. There they are. And then there's some boxed vehicles, mini vehicles. G.I. Joe #1, autographed by Larry Hama and Herb Trimpe. Got the Crimson Twins back there, Tomax and Zaymot. Got the Ram cycle. Yeah, so that is the main wall whenever you first walk into the toy room and you look to the right. That's what you see. You see that. Pretty crazy, huh? Let's go down low right here. It's my below section. I've got the Whale and the Moray. Then I've got my Winter Troops down here. Pretty cool. This section right here is reserved for what I'm 3D printing. So it's going to take up that entire section plus. It's going to be a mess. And you see all my light wiring. Very messy. We don't look back there. Got my Night Force. We've covered Night Force before in a previous video, so I'm not going to go over that too much right there. But of course, over here we also have the Rolling Thunder, which is a great vehicle. And a cardboard box with some junk in it. All right. Starting with my Cobra shelves. Stun, Hiss Tanks. I love Night Vipers, so I've got a whole bunch of Night Vipers right there. They are doing a classified Night Viper. I cannot wait. Got the Mass Device and the Weather Dominator. See, Night Vipers. Look at that. Got vintage carded Night Vipers too. All right, what else have we got? We've got my Cobra Commander collection. I freaking love Cobra Commander. So all of these, except for Copperhead over there, of course, Cobra Commander figures, including the really hard to find original Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander right there. Freaking love that figure. All right, then I've got my Sideshow Cobra Commander, my classified retro Cobra Commander. It's just a cool little shelf. Love Cobra Commander, his cowardly little ass. It's funny. All right, moving on. I've got some more stuff. The Stinger, the Crimson Cat Tank, and the Bug. Look at that Cobra Bug. It's the dumbest vehicle ever, but I love it. It's cool. Love this stuff. All right, got the Maggot right there. Then we're going to move down here and check out some of the British stuff. I've got some Action Force figures. Some have fallen over. I've got the original Robo Skull, the Red Shadows, and then we move on to the Dreadnoks right here. Love the Dreadnoks. Favorite Dreadnok, Torch. Gotta love them. This set was actually these four vehicles right here. That one, that one, that one, and that one were all Sears. It's the Dreadnok Air and Ground Assault vehicles. They came in 2 packs, sold at Sears 1983, 84, maybe 85. Have to double check my dates, but those were pretty hard to find. Moving down, more random Joe goodness. Pogo Ballistic Battle Ball. Gotta love that, right? I do not like Python Patrol or Tiger Force, but I have them. Then we've got Destro's Iron Grenadiers. All of those right there. We've got the modern Hiss Tank from the G.I. Joe Retaliation. All right. What else have we got? We've got my little air conditioner unit in here, or fan. Another Hiss Tank, the Cobra Ferret, Crimson Guard. I love the Crimson Guard is probably my favorite Cobra soldier, so I've got a buttload of those. Moving down, we've got just random Joe weirdness. Where all my weird stuff starts going is down here, plus the Checkpoint Alpha, the small stuff that doesn't really have another home. And then down here, we've got the G.I. Joe headquarters. We've got the tactical platform. That was actually my first G.I. Joe base right there. Just cleaned it today. Fun. It was very dirty. And then I've got 2 of these wooden... You know what? Hang on. I'm going to give you guys a quick look at this. First off, I want to apologize if I'm seeming very nasally, but my allergies have been going nuts this week, so please pardon me. These are from the 60s. The original G.I. Joe 12-inch figures, some of them came in these wooden cases. And I have had these cases since I was a kid. So I got my first one from my cousin. And what I have inside of these I used to keep my G.I. Joe figures in. But, you know, since they're all on display now, I keep something else in there. And what that is are file cards. So remove some of these, move this out of the way. This is the weapons tray that came with the original 60s figures. And then I've got my file cards in here. And I am ridiculous. I make sure that everybody is in there, and they're in year order and rank, year and rank. So I've got the 82 figures, Cobra Commander, Cobra Officer, Cobra the Enemy. And then we move on to 1983, where we've got the Swivel Arm Cobra Commander and Destro and the Hiss Tank Driver and Major Blood and so on and so forth. 83, Baroness, Storm Shadow, etc., etc. So all figures that I have their file cards for, which is just about, I want to say probably about 75% of my collection, I've got the file cards for them. This is all Cobra. Over here in this one are all my Joes. So yeah, pretty cool, huh? If you think my organization skills are ridiculous with that, you should look at my record collection someday. All right. Over here, pardon my mess, we have got the Terrordrome. Let's check out the Terrordrome. I have had the Terrordrome since I was a kid. It was my Cobra base, where I had the tactical battle platform for my Joe base. My Cobra base was the Terrordrome. And yeah, it's a great base. I've got my Crimson Guard surrounding it right there. I need to put one over there. I think I changed his O-ring and just didn't put him back. But yeah, that is a great set. The Cobra Claw actually fits on the outside right there, right on the side. But if you take that off, pop that off real quick, and then you can open it up. Every door. Oh, look, there's a mess in there I got to clean up. But the thing opens all the way up, and there's a Firebat jet that actually goes inside the dome right over there. It's just a freaking amazing playset, and I've had it since I was a kid, and I just love it. This is not my original one. I actually designed a logo for a friend, and he paid me in a Terrordrome. So yeah, become a graphic designer, get paid in toys. Sometimes that works out pretty well. I like that. What else have I got? If you look up, I've got ships. There are ships everywhere that are held up by monofilament fishing line. Yeah. From vintage, I don't think, none of the Star Wars vehicles are vintage. Those are all either modern releases or re-releases. Like the A-Wing right there is the original mold, but the like 97 version. Same with the Y-Wing over yonder that way. Kind of hard to see in the lighting. But my G.I. Joe stuff, on the other hand, that's all vintage. So let's see, what have we got? We got the Firebat, over there Firebat. We've got the Rattler, Night Force Sky Striker, the Conquest, the Night Raven. Wow, is that all I've got hanging? I think I put the rest of it in storage. Jeepers. All right, so yeah, that is my toy room. Random stuff. Also, some kind of hard to find figures on the wall right there. What else? Not much else in here. Let's go show you my recording studio, though. That's kind of fun. My recording studio is a big time mess, so please pardon the mess in here. Got some Freddie Mercury's, some Harry Potter and Batman figures, got Green Lanterns and Ninja Turtles, got the giant Hiss Tank, got some Black Hole figures and my G.I. Joe Classifieds right there. Those go all the way around my studio. Got my helmets, some other random stuff. Tron, Indiana Jones. Let's see over here. Here's the rest of my lightsaber collection. Right there. Right there. Keeps on going. There. And there. It's an addiction, really. More helmets. Got Elf. Got Batman. More helmets. And then there's actual books on the bookshelf too. Pretty crazy. Coffee fund. Let's see, what else? Got my broken 12-string guitar. Trying to be quiet because my wife's asleep in the other room. Vintage Indiana Jones figures. Other Indiana Jones figures. Vintage and modern. Masterpiece Transformers. And down here we've got a few Hot Toys figures. Kind of hard to see where they're at, but there they are. Okay. Got my life-size Grogu Biker Scout helmet. Random stuff that you see on the podcast. Vintage 1967 yellow hollow body Yamaha. That's my electric guitar. Got a 6-string Guild guitar right there. That's my pride and joy. I love this freaking guitar. Let's see, what else have we got? We've got back around here. Move my chair out of the way. Hot Toys figures. Not much to say about them. They're awesome. I wish I could afford more, but I can't because I work at a university. We don't make much money. But I make sure I get the essentials. What else do you need, right? Okay. What else? Got some Indiana Jones figures right there. My Black Series collection. There's not much since I focus mainly on vintage collection. Got some Tosche Station Emporium walls. All figures are held up with Tosche Station Emporium figure stands. And I've got my DC stuff. Just a random smattering of DC figures. Some other Joe figures. And you don't get to see my desktop because it's a mess. But that's not all in my guest room. I have helmets, a giant Indiana Jones, some old Nightmare Before Christmas and Mickey Mouse stuff, vintage Ewok, Voltron, legendary Lego, my wife's Harry Potter Lego set, my 3D printer, records, all of them in release date order and alphabetized. Yep. Got CDs up there. Who has CDs still? Me. A couple of my favorites framed. Up here. And some autographed goodies from years and years and years of collecting. That's it, everybody. That is my collection. So thank you very much for tuning in. I hope I didn't bore you too much. Sorry about the sniffles. And yeah, as always, my friends, keep it nerdy.
This is Grand Admiral Thrawn. You are listening to the Sarlacc Digest. What a fascinating play on words.